Once upon a time, the modern world of skyscrapers was inconceivable. Early man was limited by what nature would provide.
Oh.
And for the ancient Egyptians, taller had to mean wider, and an awful lot of manpower. Unless you believe in some of the more otherworldly theories. And when it's come to building towers, the ground below has frequently thrown a spanner in the works.
Mamma mia!
In order to create a skyscraper 11 times taller than Pisa's famous Leaning Tower, the designers of the Shanghai Tower will need to draw on the inspiration of 19th century engineering pioneers. Previously, the whole weight of a building would bear down on its walls, which would sink into the clay like a cookie cutter. Adler's innovation was to use wood and steel crossbeams encased in concrete to create a reinforced concrete raft that the 110,000-ton building sits on.
I'm going to illustrate what's happening here with this piece of modeling clay used to represent the clay that's under our feet here in Chicago, this sort of peanut butter jelly-like substance. The clay is really quite deep, and the bedrock doesn't start in Chicago until 75 to 100 feet below the surface. So I've got my chopstick here to sort of illustrate, and I take my structure and I go through the hard pan, and they just didn't have the technology in the 1880s and the 1890s to excavate that far down to bedrock. So instead, architects, engineers here in Chicago are coming up with new ways to solve this problem. The method that we're standing on here is sort of the equivalent of this kind of penny that I'm going to illustrate. So this pad or this raft is put down, and then the building, the column on top of that is put on top of that. And you can see that I can push it down a little bit into the clay, but not really that far. This is distributing the load.